Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Pat's Travel Pass. We're continuing our Europe series with how to plan 3 days in Dublin, Ireland. I'm going to show you everything from how to set up the Excel, where to stay, how to set up your days, and where to find out what to do. Come join. Now, here's an exact list of how I approach any trip now moving forward, not only for Dublin, Ireland, but all of my upcoming trips. First off, we create a spreadsheet in Google Sheets so you can share it with your whole party. Next, we're going to Google different itineraries just to get an idea of what there is to do. Next, we're going to add all of those top sites, restaurants, bars into the Google Sheets that we created. And then through Google Maps, we're going to actually pin every single one of those items that we're interested in to create a nice scatter plot, if you will, over the city and maybe country if you're going to multiple places. Next, we're going to actually screenshot the map and figure out high level where each day will take place, and then that will hopefully centralize where we should stay hotel wise. And then lastly, we're going to piece it all together, make sure everything's open on the day you want to do it, and finalize our itinerary. And I'll share with you my exact Dublin itinerary that we just performed this past month. Now here's exactly how I started off our spreadsheet here. We put in the dates that we're traveling. So we recently traveled at the end of March for spring break, but you put in the start time, end time, event that you're doing, some notes, a page number if you're using a book like Lonely Planet, which is what I used to use quite a lot until the internet became our best friend. So now I don't use it as much, but still good and handy if you have one. Also, I put the cost of the total as well as individual, and then the address on the website. And now here's a quick look at just Googling some different itineraries in Dublin. Someone already here has a blog that they write about, and so it's really nice that a bunch of people have done all the work for us, and we can try and take the itinerary from them and utilize it. But yeah, just picked this one out of random, and it looks like they had the Book of Kells, St. Stephen's Green, as well as the Dublin Castle. So we take all that information and input it into one of the days, and then keep moving on to the other itinerary items that they recommend. As we fill in each one of these days, that'll kind of shape out a starting spot, and then on the next step, we'll see how we actually go and vet it. Now that we have all three of our days completed from a high level with 2 days in Dublin and one day trip to Wicklow and Kilkenny, or possibly the Cliffs of Moher, which I know is very popular, we're now going to go vet each object or statue or attraction that we're visiting, starting off with the Book of Kells here. And we're going to go see what the price is, the timing, when they're open, what days they're closed, because we were traveling around Easter time, so a lot of items were actually closed on Sunday as well as Monday, so we really had to dial in what days it was available as well as what time. And then everyone wants to know how much they're going to be on the hook for, so I like to put in cost per person and just kind of the general times that it's open as well as if we're constricted. I do try to do this before the tickets go on sale, just because items that are really popular like the jail, which I know is one of the top attractions, as well as Guinness, those can go pretty quickly, and so you'll want to be right on top of it when those tickets release. So here's a quick example of me putting in all the times, and then that's going to help shape our days. So I just did this for the first day here, focusing on the Book of Kells, Dublin Castle, as well as the Guinness Storehouse. And then once we have all those dates aligned, we'll kind of have an idea of if the days that we've kind of isolated already work. If not, we'll have to get a little bit of flexibility in there, but that's not an issue yet. First, we really want to make sure what is close to one another and where exactly are we going to be staying. So I utilize Google Maps for this, and here's a clean slate of Dublin. And so using my Excel, typically on another screen if possible, I like to go iPad on the itinerary or laptop on the itinerary, and then the iPad is the other one. So whether it's Google Maps like we have here, I can then click around on the map, zoom in and out, and then add each attraction or restaurant or bar to Google Maps and then add it to a Dublin list. It will then show this little green icon here. I'm sure you can change it, but I haven't dove too far into it. It'll show these little green icons, and then eventually when you zoom out, you can see all of the items you've selected, and that'll really help paint a picture of where you're going. Google Maps also can be downloaded offline, so even if you're in airplane mode, you can still see all of your little green dots like I have here, and really have an idea of if any good restaurants or dessert places or bars are nearby, if your plans change or you just have an impromptu walk. Okay, now that we have all of our shops, bars, attractions located in Google Maps, we can now take a screenshot and use the drawing option on at least the iPad or your phone. And I like to circle in red some of the high level days or locations that we will be in, and then circle in blue where a good hotel location will be. So you can see here we really want to be in between these two big red circles. We actually did end up staying on the eastern side of the blue. We found that that was the best location for all the sites. Okay, so now how can we go about booking a hotel? So here's a look at my Chase Sapphire portal. You can see here are all the airlines that your Chase Sapphire card can transfer to, and this is an example of Chase's website. But they have, I think, 8 airline partners as well as 3 hotels. Now, pro tip, you should really only be transferring to Hyatt in this case. Transferring to IHG or I think it's Marriott is the other one, just really doesn't give you the value that you'd be looking for. So here's an example of how you could book a hotel with Hyatt using points. So you punch in the date, you hit use points, and I went out to about November. I think I forgot to hit points here. So hit use points and then hit refresh, and here you go, 12,000 points. Looks like there's only one hotel in Dublin that was available, or at least with Hyatt at this time. Pretty nice hotel. And then I went to the calendar, which is really useful if you have flexibility, and you can see how the points per night really go up from 12 off peak up to 18 during the summer. So that could help you decide how many nights and what time of year. Now, how do we pick restaurants? This is one of the hardest things to really dial in unless you're really flexible and can just find something on the go and you're okay with some of the touristy places. I use, once again, Google Maps, and I will just search up restaurants. I will find the top rated ones. I will vet the menu, the prices, see if they take online reservations, just because I really like to know where I'm eating dinner. I don't really do it for lunch as much, mostly dinner, and then make sure that the reviews are valid. So I'll probably go to another website like Yelp just to double verify that the restaurant or pub or whatever it is really good. I will say from all of our Europe trips to Porto and Lisbon, as well as Rome, Florence, and now Dublin, the restaurants for dinner have always been a smash hit for everyone. Like, we really enjoy that time to sit down, have a really good meal, really good beverages. So it is worth the time and effort that it takes to really find a good place. Riley's Roof Steakhouse is actually a place we went to, a little bit on the pricier side, but still a very cool experience to be up that high. And they made a damn good old fashioned. But this is how I went about the restaurants, and then look through the pictures just to get an idea of what kind of food it is. since we are American, we're not as adventurous when it comes to the food. But yeah, that's kind of how I vet the restaurants. And now here's a look at our finalized itinerary that we had. So I like to put in my flight times as well as the flight numbers, and then if we've paid for it or not. And then I'll really get pretty detailed down to the 15-minute interval at times for accounting for walking distance to really help paint a picture of when I need to book like the Guinness Storehouse or dinner, because sometimes it really does take a while to walk from one place to the next, or maybe you want some downtime. Um, so in this case, my parents were with us and they actually went and did the Cliffs of Moher while we stayed back and went and did a Malahide Castle tour, since we already did the Cliffs of Moher on a previous trip to Dublin. And then the third day we were hanging around the college, and that was really cool. Here are some pictures just to kind of show you what the first day would look like. So we got fish and chips when we landed, then we went to the Temple Bar. We then stopped by the Dublin Castle, as you can see here. The Chester Beatty Library, which has this really cool park outside. That's the Dublin Castle in the background there. But yeah, Dublin's a really cool city if you're thinking about checking it out. It is pretty far north, so coming here in early April, the wind and the rain definitely played a role. Luckily, we didn't get much rain, but it was pretty chilly. Guinness is an automatic. We also did this the first day. You get a free Guinness pint at the top, which is really cool. And then we have the jail, which is definitely the hardest ticket to get, so I highly recommend going early. And finally, here's a look at the entire itinerary again if you want to take a screenshot or try and write it down on your own. Hope you enjoyed the video. We'll continue with the Europe series in a few weeks. Thanks for all the support, everyone. We'll see you next time.